Hello and welcome to this Filbert Flies review of ORBX's Graz scenery for Microsoft Flight Simulator. You join me here on short final to runway 35 centre, and as usual I'm starting with an approach to give you a look at the surrounding area and also to allow you to get a feel for the performance of the add-on. So I am running all my settings at Ultra on an i7-8700K processor with 32GB of RAM and a 1080 Ti graphics card. We'll finish the approach and I will join you again at the gate when we'll have a proper look around this scenery in the drone view in different weather and lighting conditions. See you shortly. So here we are parked up at stand 1 at Graz, and what a glorious morning it is here. It's just gone 20 past 7, and in a controversial break from tradition, I'm going to take a look at the night lighting first. So we have these floodlights up above the terminal which are doing a fantastic job of lighting up the apron and everything on it. You'll notice that they affect the aircraft, the vehicles parked, as well as the ground of course. If we move over to the terminal, you'll notice this wonderful Flughafen Graz writing and logo, which has been lit beautifully. And further down, you will notice that there are some downlighters underneath the canopies, which are also casting light on the airport clutter down below. If we go inside the terminal, you will notice that there are, in places, spotlights above the seating areas, and that the terminal is partially modelled inside. Unfortunately, there isn't much light that can be seen through the windows, and that's a bit of a shame when you're arriving at night. It would be nice to see inside the terminal, as I'm sure you would in the real world. These lights are lit, but again, their light isn't quite strong enough to bleed outside of the terminal. Let's move over to a proper night time, see if it makes any difference. So again, although we can see the edges of the chairs, it doesn't look like the building's lit from the inside at all. If we move around the corner, you'll see that there are gates on this side of the terminal building as well, along with some buses parked up outside, which is a very nice touch. And certain bits of the interior are lit better than others. ORBX have done a fantastic job at modelling the landside areas of this airport, which is something that I've been a little critical of in previous airport reviews. So gone are the default low-resolution roadways, and in their place are really good quality signage and buildings. If you come over here, you'll notice that they've even gone to the extent of including advertising hoardings on this wall bordering the car park. Again, the front of the terminal building is in complete darkness as well, with the exception of this corner section, which is actually lit rather nicely from the inside. So it's a little bit of a pity that they haven't gone to this trouble with the rest of the airport. Taxiway lighting is very well implemented with centerline and edgeline lights, and the main runway is also looking pretty spectacular, lit up at night. The airport is certainly no less impressive by the light of day, and daylight gives us an opportunity to have a really good look at some of the modelling and texturing that's gone on. So as you'll notice, the terminal building is pretty spectacular from an architectural point of view, and it must have taken them a good long while to get these curves absolutely right on the roof here. But they have got them right, and they've used very high resolution textures, and you get this really nice reflection off this edging piece here due to the use of PBR materials. Little details like this terrace have been included, which adds to the immersion. and the semi-transparent glass of the terminal building gives a nice effect as well. The landside area, including that spectacular tower, continue to impress, and you can really see the effort that's gone into it, with taxis and cars parked up at the drop-off and pick-up area, the car parks, and these peripheral buildings around the airport. As well as the main asphalt runway, there are two parallel grass runways, one on either side of it. And the detailing that's gone into these is pretty impressive as well, from the texturing of the grass to the edge markings. They look really rather good. Over here we have a search and rescue and medical helicopter base, along with a helicopter parked outside of it. And even though this is likely to be a lesser used part of the airport from most simmers at the moment, they've gone to a lot of effort with the weathering of the building, and again super high resolution textures which really bring it to life. Over on the west side of the airport is the second grass runway, and you can also see some of the detailing that's gone into the surrounding area over here, including these grass taxiways with the different textured grass, and some of the peripheral buildings that they've modelled just around the airport, including this Mercedes-Benz G-Class Experience Centre over here. This airport looks absolutely spectacular in the rain, with the Microsoft Flight Simulator reflections and shadows. Look at this signage over here and how well it reflects off the ground. Really impressive stuff. If we move over to the taxiway, you'll see that this too looks really convincing. We've got the default Microsoft Flight Simulator rain puddles, but somehow in this scenery they really work extra well. I don't know why that is, it just looks great. And over on the runway you've got nice reflections of the sky as well in between the clouds. Now Graz is an area that gets quite a lot of snow, so I'd like to think ORBX had put in quite a lot of time on fine-tuning the snow effects. And my impression overall is that the snow looks alright, but there are a few things that could do with improvement. For example, you can see that the stand we're on is covered in a thick blanket of snow. I would have expected the area where the aircraft parked to be cleared slightly. You also have the odd harsh line. So there's a very definite cut-off between the taxiway, which has been cleared as snow, and the apron area that hasn't. And for some reason, on stand 1, the area where you pull in has a light covering of snow with some sharp corners and edges, whereas the rest of the apron has a thick blanket, and the taxiway has none. So that's a little bit jarring for me. This stand has been done slightly better. There's obviously been a bit of snow melt where an aircraft has parked before, and that looks nice, so I'd quite like to see that on all or the majority of stands which are in use. There's also, unfortunately, a thick blanket of snow inside the terminal. Now I don't know if that's an STK limitation. It may be that you can have snow everywhere or nowhere, with the exception of taxiways or runways, but it's a bit of a shame anyway. Over on the landside area you can see a similar story. So some of the roads, such as this one, have a light dusting of snow. Presumably they've been gritted or cleared but a little while ago. The car park is totally free of snow, except for these grassy areas in between the rows of cars. And the roads in front of the terminal, some have a smattering of snow like here, others have been cleared, but again there are these harsh lines in between the two areas, so that's a bit of a shame. So what do I think of this scenery overall? Well, I think it's really very, very good. It's clear that a huge amount of effort has gone into it, from the high quality modelling and texturing of the terminal buildings and the high resolution ground textures, to the different colours and textures of the grass and the nice to have little features such as a detailed landside area and the detailed buildings around the airport perimeter. The night lighting on the apron is also unusually good. I have found a few minor things to criticise, most notably the lack of light emanating from the terminal buildings at night time, and a few anomalies in the snow textures. These are very small niggles though, and I really don't think they detract from what is, otherwise, a very well made and atmospheric scenery add-on in a really beautiful part of the world. For 25 Australian dollars, that's just under 14 British pounds or 18 US dollars, I think the scenery is a real gem and I'm very pleased to have it in my sim. I really hope you found this video review useful. If you have, please do click the like button down below and consider subscribing to my channel if you'd like to see more of this sort of thing. Thanks very much for watching, and I hope to see you again soon on Phil But Flies. Take care. Bye bye.